This is Business Week Armenia, CivilNet's weekly business digest. Here are this week's top stories. Armenia's regulatory agency has approved the sale of the country's largest mobile network operator to a Cyprus-based company with unnamed ultimate beneficial owners, just 6 months after blocking such a move over national security concerns. In a statement this week, Armenia's Public Services Regulatory Commission said Russia's largest telecommunications company could move ahead with selling off its Armenian subsidiary, following consultations with the Ministry of High-Tech Industry and National Security Service, neither of which raised objections. In April, the PSRC blocked such a sale after determining it could threaten Armenia's national security or state interests. The regulatory agency gave no indication as to what had changed since then. With the PSRC's blessing, Russia's MTS can now move forward with selling MTS Armenia to Cyprus's Fedilko Group. The Armenian investigative news site Hetq has found that Fedilko Group forms part of a chain of other Cyprus-based companies, all created last year. Reporters were unable to determine Fedilko's ultimate beneficial owners. The heads of the PSRC and Ministry of High-Tech Industry each told CivilNet they are aware of Fedilko's true owners but would not share that information publicly, citing trade secrets. At present, MTS Armenia is owned by MTS through a string of offshore companies registered in Cyprus and Luxembourg. The prominent Russian oligarch Vladimir Yevtushenkov has a substantial stake in MTS through his holding company, Sistema, while his son Felix Yevtushenkov heads the MTS board of directors. MTS Armenia made just over $9 million in profit last year, according to figures seen by the Russian business newspaper Vyedomosti. Under Armenian law, MTS now has 6 months to finalize the sale. More than a dozen IT companies that took part in an Armenian government program providing financial support to the tech sector are now shuttered. That's according to Hetq, the investigative news site, whose reporters this week revealed that 18 companies that together took about $475,000 in taxpayer money under the program have now either indefinitely suspended operations or closed permanently. What's more, records show 7 of those 18 companies had already indefinitely suspended operations before they applied for government assistance. Late last year, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan's cabinet approved a plan to provide about $25 million in support to more than 300 IT companies operating in the country. Armenia's currency, the dram, substantially increased in value last year amid massive inflows of Russian money to the country, resulting in slashed revenues for most Armenian IT companies, which typically receive payments from overseas clients in dollars or other foreign currencies. Pashinyan said at the time the financial support would make up for those losses. Hetq has investigated the program intensely, even going so far as to sue the Ministry of High-Tech Industry earlier this year for failing to provide documents related to the program that were requested under Freedom of Information laws. The IT sector employs upwards of 30,000 people in Armenia and has been boosted significantly by last year's influx of thousands of Russian tech workers. Armenia is keeping its position as one of Russia's main sources of used cars, despite Georgia's ban earlier this year on automobile re-exports through its territory. Armenia supplied about 13% of the roughly 342,000 used cars imported by Russia in the first 10 months of the year, according to figures reviewed by the Russian trade publication Autostat. That makes Armenia Russia's second biggest source of used cars after Japan. When the war in Ukraine began last year, most foreign automakers pulled out of Russia, allowing car traders from Armenia and other former Soviet countries, as well as a number of East Asian countries, to rush into the market. Armenia's used car business boomed as a result, with car dealers in the country typically importing damaged cars from Europe or North America via Georgia before repairing them in Armenia and then re-exporting them to Russia, again through Georgia. Armenia ships only a negligible amount of new cars to Russia, as the country has no domestic capacity for automobile production. A move by the Georgian government earlier this year to ban the re-export and transit through its territory of automobiles imported from the European Union or United States to Russia raised fears Armenia's used car business would be devastated, but those worries appear to have been unfounded. CivilNet understands many Armenian car dealers are now shipping cars to Iran, where they are sent onward to Russia via the Caspian Sea. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.